Today we're going to discuss one of the most controversial topics in history. Are aliens real? This will be a thorough and in-depth look into the possibility of extraterrestrial life. I will only discuss real and credible information to come to a logical conclusion. From the earliest accounts of UFO sightings to the scientific guidelines to searching for life. Despite what anyone says, the answer to this question of alien life is not simple. To begin, I think it's fair to recognize the miracles and wonders of the life right in front of us. Sometimes our personal problems blind us to the beauties our world holds right in front of our face. For every negative and ugly thing this world offers, there's 3 positive and beautiful things to counter it. With this being said, is this beauty a rare occurrence in the universe? Are there more like us or more advanced? Well, you have to look at how we got here in the first place. The universe is a chaotic place, so the earth had to be stable enough for long enough for life to grow out of a single cell phase, which is apparently not as uncommon as we think. Single cell life has been found on Mars, asteroids, Venus, and also in the atmosphere of Venus, but more recently on an interstellar meteorite from out of this galaxy and solar system altogether. The life found on Venus is especially important because Venus is thought of as a hell planet, deadly to life as we know it. Now, life being found in the atmosphere of Venus is an incredible discovery because that means 1, life once lived on Venus during an earlier period in our solar system. Keep that in mind. And 2, life is much stronger and can handle many more conditions than we previously believed. So if life is not as uncommon in a single cell sense as we think, the real question becomes how rare is intelligent life? So many factors came into place for us to even be here, which science admits is a miracle in itself. You can probably thank God for it. If we take human history as a standard, intelligent life is extremely rare. We needed time to evolve into a stable situation. We needed the right amount of oxygen to ensure our brains evolved the right way so that our intelligence could have manifested. The moon and the tides, plate tectonics, previous mass extinctions all come into play on why human beings are here today. If this is the standard, then intelligent life across the universe is rare. Whether we are alone or not, both are scary thoughts, to be honest. To form my final conclusion, I think it's only fair to include the most convincing UFO stories I know of that haven't or is extremely hard to debunk. So if you didn't know, UFO sightings and alien abductions goes back thousands of years before planes or government conspiracies even existed. The most famous being UFOs depicted in holy paintings and medieval and ancient art. The most known being the Madonna and the Child, and also the Annunciation of Saint Emidus. And the biggest thing about UFO sightings, of course, during this time is that there are no planes in the sky. So what were they seeing exactly? There is even an alleged UFO abduction detailed in the Bible. Not the Bible that me and you think of that we use when we go to church, but the original Bible that had way more books in it. And the book that I'm talking about is the book of Ezekiel, where he was sent for by God in a flying chariot that took him outer space, where he's seeing the roundness of the earth. Of course, I paraphrased this so it is easier to understand, but this is basically what Ezekiel wrote. You should go read it for yourself and decipher what you think he means. Now let's fast forward to the mid to late 1800s, where there was an uptick of UFO sightings. Many people across the country reported seeing ships and strange lights in their hometowns. These stories of these situations are very interesting because this is before the era of airplanes. So naturally they add a layer of mystery to all the allegations that came out of this time period. Now we reach 1947, the year Roswell occurred, when an alien spaceship allegedly crashed in the New Mexico desert and birthed one of the most infamous conspiracy theories in history. After this event, sightings and abductions skyrocket. There's so many stories that I can get into, but I want to focus on the more credible evidence of extraterrestrial life. Let's get started with Bob Lazar, a former government scientist that worked at Area 51 more specifically a section of the base called S4. He is the reason most people even know about Area 51. He is probably the most credible source of UFO evidence in the world. In May 1989, Lazar appears on TV with George Knapp to discuss what he does at the base S4. He then goes into detail about what goes on at the base and what his job technically is. He said he reverse engineers alien spacecrafts and has worked on metals and elements not yet discovered by humans. He detailed inventions, scientific methods, and documents describing the alien race's involvement in Earth for over 10,000 years. He said they come from the star constellation Zeta Reticuli, keep that in mind, and he detailed what makes space travel even possible. After he came out as a whistleblower, all records of his education was removed and deleted. He claims he is constantly being watched and had his home raided on a couple different occasions for an element called E115. One of the elements he detailed in 1989, like most of what he says, has since been discovered or created. Except the most important thing to know about this element is that human beings haven't figured out how to make E115 stable. Lazar states he has seen the element stable, and the element is also the key to space travel. It's worth to note that Lazar makes no money from this claim and doesn't like even talking about it because he hates being seen as a crackpot conspiracy theorist. Because of how many things he originally said that was found to be true, and his lack of capitalizing off the events lead us to believe he is actually telling the 100% truth. Next up is the WOW signal. SETI, aka the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, searches for alien life by scanning the stars for radio waves. Though I should note, Earth does not send off any repeated radio signals, so if an alien civilization was using that very same technique that we're using, they would not see us at all. The WOW signal is unique because it was received, and when it was received, it bore all the expected hallmarks of an alien civilization. The signal was strong, consistent, except it didn't repeat. But you should note that lasted the full 72 seconds in which that radio was pointed in that direction. No attempt to give explanations with natural reasons have ever held up since then. You should definitely look into SETI and how they search for alien life, and also check out other signals that are unexplained. Now I'm going to give you all a synopsis of a situation called the abduction of Betty and Barney Hill. The couple was abducted one night and their stories matched to the T, and they both were UFO skeptics before that. They were driving on a road one night when they realized lights in front of them. The lights came down at them, and on top of them they observed different figures. They tried to run away, but they say everything changed as they left their physical state of consciousness and was transported somewhere else. Barney says he heard buzzing and beeping. He felt weird and powerless. Then just as fast as it happened, they regained consciousness back at the car. They reported this and the story went viral. They did everything they could to be as transparent as possible and to tell everyone their truth. Even took hypnotherapy that revealed details of the aliens, their crafts, their intent, and where they was from. Zeta Reticuli. Remember that star constellation? So it is worth to note the couple did not gain anything from this experience. No money, no fame. It just gained a lot of attention. But during this time of the 1960s, that was unconventional for an interracial couple because that attention was not positive. And honestly, it could mean the death of Barney, and Barney knew that. So he was skeptical to even come out with the story in the first place. It is also worthy to note that this is the 1960s. There weren't many stories of abductions and alien sightings that someone can use to fabricate their own story. They gave details of the aliens, of the equipment used, of things they had no knowledge of prior to this experience. And because of all these small factors that play that kind of go against this being a hoax, I believe the Betty and Barney Hill story 100%. This is only a synopsis. There's so much information along with this situation, it's gonna blow your head the fuck off. Now, to end the pro-alien argument, I would suggest doing research into the Battle of Los Angeles during World War II and the Rendlesham Forest incident that happened at a military base. Those are two that I believe are also major pieces of convincing UFO evidence. Some of you may be thinking I just proved alien life to exist, but no, I have not. Aliens are not seen as fact in science, but why? Now let me introduce y'all to what is called the Drake equation, written by a man named Frank Drake to calculate the probability of extraterrestrial civilizations, which finds there are tens of thousands of possible extraterrestrial worlds out there. In scientific terms, the universe is so big that the probability of us being alone is far smaller than the probability of us not. This equation is generally accepted in science, but there is a major problem though. Where are they? The answer to this question is the Fermi paradox. The Fermi paradox is the thought of there should be so many alien civilizations, why don't we see any evidence of them when we look for them? Either life is common and intelligent life is so uncommon and life never grows beyond a single cell stage, or the aliens are hiding. So earlier I detailed everything that makes our life and humanity unique to the solar system and how hard it would be to reproduce these steps into which intelligent life manifests. But let's just say other Earths have had the same luxuries. The question is, can life evolve long enough before it kills itself? It's widely known that we are our own worst enemies. Who says aliens got that right? Since you have to be in an aggressive race to even want to go to space and traverse space in the first place, who says intelligent life doesn't always destroy itself before it can even get to space? If the said alien civilization managed to not kill themselves, then the resources needed to sustain such a civilization would need to be literally infinite, along the lines of literally mining whole stars. The task in itself would literally need the resources of a whole planet. So there is a high chance that intelligent life just doesn't evolve into a type 1 civilization, aka a space exploring civilization. With all this being said, the universe is suspected to be 14 billion years old, which means solar systems have risen and fallen before Earth was even molded. Our world could have spawned when other civilizations ended, or we are the first of intelligent life to get this far, and will eventually help other alien worlds evolve. But would it even be ethical to help alien worlds evolve unnaturally? This surely would be a hot debated topic on Earth. More advanced civilizations descending upon lesser advanced civilizations almost never work out for the lesser advanced civilization. So much so that today there are laws against contacting uncontacted tribes. There's laws against you trying to be a missionary to a people that you deem lesser than you. We cannot do that. So would these same rules be placed upon whole worlds? Because any small interaction on our behalf could throw off the entire evolution. So would it even be ethical to interfere with another world's evolutionary process? Once you ask yourself that question, does it occur to you we might be the younger species being watched by older civilizations until we mature enough as a species to be introduced to what the universe really holds? My main objective with this episode was to open your minds more to the thoughts of aliens and what that would really mean. My personal conclusion is intelligent alien life is real. They travel the universe, study lesser forms of life, but along with the governments and higher powers of this world, they have collectively decided as a race we are not ready for that chapter of human history. We are a relatively primitive race and still have a lot to learn about the nature of existence. But a forced evolution will be harmful to us and maybe destroy us, and definitely unethical for them. So I feel like they want to watch and learn about the early days of intelligent life. So that is my final conclusion, that life in the galaxy, alien life in the galaxy is common. Intelligent life not as common, but it has happened because the universe is so big. There has been other Earths or planets that have been lucky enough to evolve intelligent life, except we're late to the party. Hope you all enjoyed today's show. Sorry for the lengthiness of it, but this is Episode 4, Are Aliens Real? And y'all heard my conclusion, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, you dig. Until next time.